I'm Cameron from Go Wireless. Just like to thank you all today for joining our 60-minute educational webinar. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedules to be here today. In this session, we're excited to introduce Tachyon Networks, which is our newest vendor bringing cutting-edge wireless solutions to the market. This will be presented by Herman Conradie, covering 60 gig technology, product offerings, performance insights, and real-world applications, providing a complete overview of what Tachyon Networks has to offer. We'll wrap up at the end with a Q&A session, so feel free to submit questions as we go. Now, I know you're eager to learn about these exciting solutions, so let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Herman Conradie from Tachyon Networks. Herman, over to you.
Oh, great. Thanks, Cameron. Yeah, so welcome you guys, and thank you for joining today's session. As Cameron said, my name is Herman. I'm the VP of Sales and Business Development for Tachyon Networks. And in the next few minutes, I'll introduce you to our company and walk through our 60 gigahertz product lineup, real-world performances of these devices, and also talk about some items or products that we've got coming up next. So to start off with, for anybody that's not familiar with 60 gigahertz, 60 gigahertz offer huge opportunities for ISPs or really anyone that needs multi-gigabit capacity on a link. So looking at the available unlicensed spectrum, and that's considering 2.4, 5 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, and then the 60 gigahertz band, about 90% of that available spectrum is 60 gigahertz. And that offers like major benefits. You get high capacity on 60 gigahertz because of this available spectrum. You can use wider channels, more simultaneous links, and this is the main reason why you can get multi-gigabit speeds from 60 gigahertz. So 60 gigahertz also does not have the regulatory obligations like what 5 gigahertz DFS or 6 gigahertz AFC has. So avoiding both DFS and AFC means that you get instant channel availability, no radar interruptions, and also fast and simpler deployments on 60 gigahertz. So we're using the latest technology when it comes to beamforming, and this allows for moderate distance links on 60 gigahertz without any aiming needed. Beamforming says it all, so it really makes it easy to align links. And then with light aiming, it also allows for longer distance links than what you will get with a lot of the 60 gigahertz products that's in the same category as Tachyon Networks out there. And then we've also got lens kits that fits on some of our radios, which even allows for longer distance links. And I'll talk about all of that as we go along, moving through the products. So one thing to always remember is that 60 gigahertz will always be affected by rain. It's unfortunately you can't get past that. But that's perfect for mid and high density deployments. So we do have a calculator online, which you can use to see what the rain fade of a specific link will be, and also what your modulation rates will be, just to give you a better idea of how the link will perform in certain rain environments. And it's definitely something that needs to be used when decided to put a link out there. So also with all of this spectrum, it means that you've got basically no interference on 60 gigahertz. And coupled with the characteristics of 60 gigahertz, this allows you to get multi-gigabit Ethernet or multi-gigabit speeds on these links. So talking about the technology that's out there, I just want to do a quick comparison with the main technologies that's out in the market, and I'm going to start off with looking at fiber. So the main benefits of fiber is multi-gigabit capacity. You've got low latency, it's secure, and basically immune to interference. However, it's got its drawbacks. So it does take a lot more time to get customers connected and get it out there to market. And then also considering what your cost per subscriber is, it's quite a bit higher than what it would be for a wireless device, for instance. And then I'm going to jump to the next thing, technology there, which is sub 7 gigahertz unlicensed band. So again, there you've got some benefits where your cost per subscriber is quite a lot better than what, for instance, it would be on fiber. It's a lot easier to get a customer connected and it is secure. However, it's got some major drawbacks as well. So the biggest drawback of the unlicensed sub 7 gigahertz products is that it's not immune to interference. Interference is a big issue. That's why there's a lot of products out there to try and mitigate that. However, it's not something that you can completely get rid of. And this interference actually limits the capacity that you can get from these devices, and the latency is also quite a bit higher than what you can expect from 60 gigahertz or actually your fiber products. Comparing that with 5G or LEO satellites, main benefits of those technologies is that it's basically immune to interference and it's secure, but it's got a lot of drawbacks. I know there's a lot of advances in the satellite environment, but you're still limited to the capacity that you can get. The latency is quite a bit higher, and it's also a bit slower to get a customer, or it takes a bit more time to get a customer connected. And then, of course, your cost per subscriber is also quite a bit higher than on the wireless products, for instance. Now, at Tachyon, we considered all of these factors and we built a product that really caters to all of these points that I've just mentioned. You get your multi-gigabit capacity from these devices. The latency is comparable to fiber, really, really low latency. It's ultra secure. It's immune to interference. As I mentioned in my previous slide, about 90% of the unlicensed spectrum is on 60 gigahertz, so it's immune to interference. It's really, really easy to deploy and get a customer connected. And I'll talk about the beamforming, which allows this to happen in really short times. And then also the cost per subscribers. It's pretty low. You can also go and do the maths and work out what your cost per megabyte is going to be. You've got subscribers that can do multi-gigabit speeds. So the price you pay for one of these subscribers or for one of these devices, really, if you convert that to price per megabyte, it really makes a big difference. The Tachyon products really offers you great value for money there. So I'm going to jump right into the product. And I'm going to talk first about the TNA 301 and TNA 302. Those are the first products that Tachyon Networks actually started with. These are pure beamforming or beam steering devices, and it's really, really easy to install. So these devices also offer the full band support. So from channel 1 to channel 6. A lot of the 60 gigahertz devices out there only offer support from channel 1 to 4. We offer support from channel 1 to 6. And in a later slide, I'm going to show you what the difference is working on channel 1 to 4 versus working on channel 5 to 6. As I mentioned, these devices are 100% beam steering, and it's really, really easy to install. You can basically compare that to installing a 5 gigahertz device. If you are within the beamforming area of the antenna, if you've got your client in that area, it's basically the devices will self-align. Then the self-alignment is also continuous. So after installation, if you've got a deployment where your client device is moving up and down, like at a marina, you've got it on a boat, or the tides are moving a jetty up and down, these devices will continuously self-align with the beam steering that it offers. So you basically guaranteed of a stable connection all the time. So just a little bit more specs around the TNA 301 and 302. These radios look exactly the same. It is more or less the same radio with a couple of differences. So what they've got in common is both of these devices can offer speeds of 2.3 gigs plus. Both of these devices can connect up to 32 customers, and yeah, both of them's got beam steering. So the main differences between these two devices, and you can have a look at that on the slide, is the TNA 301 has got a 120 by 45 degree beamforming antenna, and therefore this antenna is defaultly set up as or radio is defaultly set up as an AP. Now in the software you can easily configure this to be a client as well, but looking at the antenna, it makes sense to have this defaultly set up as an AP. The gain of the antenna on this device is 20 dBi, and it's got two Ethernet ports, a 2.5, which is the main Ethernet port, and then also a 1 gig port that can be used for failover. Now this 1 gigabit port is also got PoE out, so you can connect a CCTV camera or a 5 gigahertz or whatever radio you would like for failover to this device. Even a normal AP, if you want to do public Wi-Fi or something like that, you can also connect on that Ethernet port. The TNA 302, that's got a 45 by 45 degree beamforming antenna. And the default mode on this device is it's defaultly set up as a client, but you can set it up as a AP as well. The antenna gain is a little bit higher because we've got a much narrower beamforming antenna, so that's got about 22 dBi gain. And again, you've got the same Ethernet ports, a 2.5 and a 1 gigabit with PoE out that you can use for failover or CCTV camera or access point, or yeah, whatever you can think of. Now, both of these devices you can use for point-to-point, and you can use them for point-to-multipoint, and you can use them in any configuration. You can have a 301 with multiple 301s as clients, or a 301 with multiple 302 as clients, whichever way you like, whatever you really require. You can do it with these devices. They're also the same price. So yeah, it's really up to what your deployment requirement is. The TNA 302, I've seen a lot of guys actually using that for point-to-point, like shorter point-to-point links as well. These two devices you'll typically use for distances up to 1 kilometer. I won't easily go over that. Yeah, any shorter links you can easily do with these devices and expect speeds of 2.3 gigs plus on shorter distances. Then we've got a 303X. Now this is our modular radio, typically used for longer distances, and again you can use it for point-to-point and point-to-multipoint, and that's also compatible with your 301 and 302. It's basically got more or less the same specs that offer all the channels from channel 1 to 6. A difference between the 303X and the 303.1 and 303.2 is the 303X can also be used in different orientations. So on the 301 and 302, you've only got the vertical polarity that you use. On this device, it's vertical and horizontally, the polarities are supported. Again, it's got PoE out, so you can power up a CCTV camera, access point, or a failover radio. And then again, this radio is actually compatible with our antenna lens kits, which I'll get into just now. The base settings for this radio, if you look on the screen, it's got a 90 by 40 degree beamforming antenna. It's defaultly set up as a client, but again, you can set it up as an AP as well. The gain of this antenna is quite a bit lower at 16 dBi, But again, you've got a 2.5 gig Ethernet port and then the 1 gig failover port as well. Now, you can also connect 32 customers to this device. Speeds of 2.3 gigs plus easily with this. However, the distances you can get out of this device with the antenna kits is quite a bit further than what you can get with the 301, 302. Again, you can use this in conjunction with or in combination with 301, 302s as well, depending all on what your deployment needs are. So just talking about the antenna kits that we've got as well for this 303. So the first 3 antenna kits that you see there is you can use for either point-to-point or you'll typically use this for a client if you want to use it in point-to-multipoint mode. And then the bottom 2 antennas is your devices that you'll use for if you want to use it as an AP. So you'll get distances of more than 1 kilometer. Again, a couple of things that you need to consider, and the biggest thing is rain fade, depending on what distance you want to achieve with that. But you can get longer distances than what you can with the 301, 302. If you want to use it for point-to-point, instead of just having a link of up to 1 kilometer, you can use the AK300 and easily get a link of over 6 kilometers. Again, something that you need to consider is the rain fade and how many nines of availability you will have with this, depending on the distance of the link. So just a little bit more information about the 1 gigabit Ethernet port that we've got to connect basically a CCTV camera or doing failover or anything like that with. If you want to use it for failover, brilliant way, ideal for that. It will allow you to get longer distance links because your rain fade, you can work with a lot higher rain fade than what you typically would if it's just a 60 gigahertz link to fail over to the whatever frequency radios you've got. But this failover is configurable. You can configure it so when your signal reaches a specific RSSI, then it fails over to, I'm going to use the example of a 5 gigahertz radio. Then it will fail over to that. So the failover typically occurs in less than a second. And that failover you can either have for the same link or to a completely different link. And it also, there is a configurable delay that you can set to reduce the risk of flapping during heavy rainfall. So here's one of the latest products that we've introduced. It's called the TNA 303L-65. So this is probably the lowest cost 60 gigahertz point-to-point or CPE radio in the market, especially with the specs that it's got. Again, it supports the full channel of full band from channel 1 to channel 6. It's got an integrated directional antenna. This antenna is 8 degrees by 8 degrees. It's got a 1 gigabit Ethernet port, so this is where your limitation comes in on this radio. It's only got 1 Ethernet port and it's got 1 USB port. So the 1 Ethernet port is 1 gigabit, so your radio will only be able to deliver up to 1 gigabit for this specific device. And then your USB port that's on the device as well, you can attach a Wi-Fi dongle. That's just for alignment and an easy installation, but you can still configure the radio through the Ethernet port as well. But we do have the USB port, so you can use a Wi-Fi dongle for installation. And the Wi-Fi dongles that is compatible with this device, we've got a list of that on our website. And if you look at the pricing of this device, and if you guys would like more information about the pricing, just speak to Cameron and them from Go Wireless. They'll be able to assist you there. But yeah, the price of this device is really exceptional. And the typical use case for this device would be as either a 1 gigabit point-to-point link, if you need a a link, not more than a gig, you can definitely use that. And also to use this as a CPE. Considering using this with a 301 and having multiple of these, you can have quite decent micro pops with quite high speeds that you can deploy with these devices. So another feature that we're also working on this devices is a client router mode, and that will even reduce your cost even further when that feature will finally be available. So we've also got a TNA 303L. This device we've basically will start shipping within the next week or so. Main difference between the 303L and the 303L-65 is this device has got a wider beamforming antenna. So it's got a 90 by 45 degree beamforming antenna. It can support up to 32 stations. Again, basically the same radio as the 303L-65. This is just more to be used as an AP. Pricing of this device versus the 303L-65, they're basically exactly the same. But your limitation here again is the speed. So you can only get like 1 gig out of this device, where your 303X and 301 and 302, you can do multi-gigabit capacity on those devices. Other than that, there's not a lot of differences between this device and the 303L-65. Main difference is that this will typically be used as an AP. It's got a wider beamforming antenna versus the 303L, which has only got an 8 by 8 degree beamforming antenna. Then if you're looking at distances and compare use the distances for the 303L connected to the other devices that we've got. The first link there is a 301, so that's the 120 degree beamforming antenna connected to this 303L-65. You can get up to about 1.5 kilometers. If you're looking at the 302, which got the 45 degree, you can look at around about 1.8 kilometers. And the 303X with a 90 degree lens kit on, there you can go already to about 2.5 kilometers. And if you want to use these 303Ls-65s for point-to-point, you can go up to 3 kilometers. So there is also another product which is basically 2 of these 303L-65s in a box, which we call a link in a box. They're already paired, so it's really easy to use for those that do not want to do a or don't have the skills to put up a link like this. We've got an already paired link in a box product available as well, which is actually doing pretty well. Then here's some true life examples of what you can expect from our equipment. So in the picture there, you can see a 303X with an AK300 antenna on there. So that is a point-to-point link. You can see about 4.2 kilometers, and the over-the-air speed is 2.5 gigs that this customer has been able to achieve. Now, this link, as you can see there, has been running for 10 months. It's in the Czech Republic. It's during rain. It's not dropped so far. You can also see, just looking at the modulation rates, all of that type of stuff looks pretty good. That's what you can expect from our products as well. And that's even without a failover radio, or failover radio connected. Just one thing I can also just mention, you'll see there's a aiming tool attached to that radio. We do recommend that you just print one of those. We've got a 3D print file on our website, just to make alignment easier when you're doing point-to-point links with the 303X and the AK300 antenna on there. It's just to give you a general idea of where your station and your AP is, to make it easier to align. But yeah, you can see there, this is a true life link from one of our customers, and quite good advertisement for us, just stating the obvious and just showing what we've been saying about our products is actually true. So here's another example of some real-world testing we've done with 303L-65, and that is connected to a TNA 302. So I've already shared some distances, and that's about 1.3 kilometer link that we were able to get with that with pretty decent signal. You can also have a look at that. The data rate is about 2.5 gigs. The modulation rate is also MCS 9. It's like one of the top modulation rates that we offer. Yeah, a pretty decent stable link that we've got there, just showing again what is possible with our equipment, that multi-gigabit speeds that we advertise are truly available. So again, the TNA 303L is a 1 gigabit radio. You'll see the data rates are quite high, but again, it's the Ethernet port that's the limitation. So the true speed of this link was about a gig that the customer could get from this. So I've mentioned what differences the channels make. So channel 1 to 4, there's a lot more attenuation on channel 1 to 4 than on channel 5 and 6. So these two examples are the exact same link, just on two different channels. So as I also mentioned, a lot of the 60 gigahertz products out there only offer support from channel 1 to 4. We do the full band from channel 1 to 6. Like I said, the same link, just on different channels. Channel 3, you can see going from channel 3 to channel 5, you've got quite a big signal difference. And of course, everything else changes as well. Your modulation rate increases. But again, working on channel 1 to 4 there's also the benefits of working on those channels, because there's a lot less guys that operate on that. So if you've got shorter links, there's no real need to work on channel 5 and 6. Channel 5 and 6 are typically more used for longer links if you want to go more than a kilometer. So we've also got this product that will start shipping very, very, very soon. They will be available from January. Still need to get them out to a couple of places, but yeah, they'll start shipping probably within the next week or two. So this radio is called the TNA 305X. If you look at this radio compared to the 303X, the two radios looks very similar. It's basically the same size radios. The main difference between the two is the 305 has got a built-in Wi-Fi 7 chipset for failover. That's why you'll also notice this radio has got two SMA connectors on the top of the radio. So it's got a built-in antenna for that failover. It is a 9 or 6 dBi antenna, so not really for longer ranges. So that's why we've also got the SMA connectors. You can connect basically any other antenna to this device and use the Wi-Fi 7 radio on there for point to multi-point connecting customers. So again, it supports all the channels from channel 1 to channel 6. The initial launch, the radios will only be able to connect up to 32 clients, but we will upgrade that to 48 very soon. Again, it's got the same beamforming antenna as the 303X, 90 by 45. It's got one Ethernet port, and it's a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port that takes PoE in. And it's also got an integrated 2.4 gigahertz management radio. It will have integrated GPS, and then of course, also what's beneficial, it will be able to work with all of our antenna kits that we offer for the 303X. So you use the same antenna kits. So on the 305 as what you use on the 303X. So yeah, that is the entire product range we've got currently. We're working on quite a number of other products, exciting products that we will launch soon, and that we will talk about more about very soon. But yeah, we can open up for questions now. I didn't want to take too much of your time. I don't think I can say a lot more about the product, just that it works. So yeah, we can handle any questions that arise right now.
Yeah, so Cameron here, just having a look there. We haven't got any submitted, but if anyone's got any questions, feel free to drop that in, and we can have a look through. Otherwise, I'll ask some from our side.
It sounds like I've answered everybody's questions already.
Yeah, yeah, probably. I'll throw something up from us anyway. So like, we've probably covered a bit of these, but what would be sort of your ideal scenario for deploying Tachyon in terms of like the environments? So that's urban, rural, mixed.
Yeah, so a lot of deployments that we're currently seeing is urban deployments, especially if you're looking at range. The rural areas, range might be a bit of an issue, especially when it comes to whatever the rainfall is there as well. But we've been seeing quite a lot of urban deployments, and not just for broadband, but also for CCTV or the security industry. It's really good for that type of deployments as well. So yeah, basically any shorter range deployments, urban environments where there's a lot of interference. I think this is the ideal product. We're actually doing pretty well in Europe with these devices. You can imagine as well, there's a lot of cities built up with millions and millions of people and quite a lot of interference, and this is typically where these products gets deployed. You can do rural, of course, as well. That all depends on what your requirements are. One thing that I would just consider there is what the range is, and then also what the rainfall will be.
Excellent, thank you. I'll give you another one here. I think, yeah, just a bit more depth on that. So how do you implement, so for failover and backup? So I saw, obviously, the cutover was less than a second. Can you pretty much use any vendor there for your backup options?
Yeah, correct.
Right, yeah, I think don't seem to have any submissions there. So yeah, if we're, I think we're probably ready to wrap up there.
Perfect, yeah. Thank you for the opportunity. If you guys have got any questions, feel free to direct them to Cameron. I'm more than happy to also jump in there if you want to do a call and just discuss a specific deployment or scenario. More than happy to assist wherever we can.
Yeah, and just say from Go Wireless, yeah, thank you for your time today. We'll yeah, if you've got any questions, and like Herman said, we're happy to help with doing solutions and design work there as well. Just feel free to reach out, and we can assist.